What's going on Twitter? Let's have a look. Wow, I suck. Did you feel like this when seeing this tweet? I know I did a bit. Inadequacy is the term. I used to feel like this quite a lot and wasted a lot of time feeling this way. Howdy, my name is Lee, and if like me you suffered from the pain of feeling inadequate or feeling worthless, then watch this video and I'll show you how I was able to celebrate other people's successes again and find fulfillment of my own. If you're like me, you probably saw this amazing event and a little piece inside of you really cringed quite hard. At least this was my initial reaction. My reactive mindset was kicking in. This is my bad habit of self-pity and feeling inadequate. I used to really battle with it, but you know what I do now? I embrace it. You know why? Because the first thing that we need to do in all of this is to acknowledge our emotions. You see, thoughts, feelings, and emotions are like waves in a stormy sea. The more you try and fight them, the worse it gets. The only way to calm the sea is take the path of mindfulness. Listen to our thoughts, feel our emotions, and let them pass. We can't control our thoughts or our emotions. They're reactive and instinctive. We can only change what thoughts and feelings emerge from us from changing our mindset and giving us time. Time is needed in order to be able to change what our default reactionary responses to things are. The most common emotions connected to feeling inadequate, mediocre, or worthless include jealousy, self-pity, guilt, shame, and regret. Now, I'm not saying we should embrace these emotions as the way forward, but in order to move forward, we have to accept that that is what we felt, but let it go. So that's the first thing to understand. You have to understand that this is happening and it's natural for everybody. So now moving on to what we can do about it, here's 5 steps to break free, achieve more, and find fulfillment. Starting with number 1, change our mindset. To escape the feeling of inadequacy, we have to change our mindset first. This is easier said than done, but it can be done. The one thing that I learned during my whole struggle was that I had all the information. I'd read books, listened to others, watched podcasts, listened to podcasts, seen videos, everything. So why was I still suffering after all of that? Because although I had the information, I didn't believe it and I didn't embrace it. There's knowing and then there's believing, and sometimes they're not aligned. You have to believe that someone else's success does not equal your failure. You're 2 different people on 2 different paths, 2 parts of the world, growing up in 2 different ways. You're completely separate individuals. You need to be able to appreciate the present and what you have now. Because I bet you once said that you'd be happy when you got to where you were today. Whether it was a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, at some point you said you'd be happy when you reached here. Don't forget that and realize that your path is your own path. Look to others for inspiration, but get out of the mindset of analyzing your path and your successes against everybody else's. There's probably tens of thousands, if not millions, or tens of millions of people that are further ahead of you, and then also people that are further behind you. They say comparison is the thief of joy, but I also think it's the thief of progress. Chart your own path and enjoy the journey. Number 2, be like water. One of my favorite quotes from Bruce Lee: empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle and it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Bruce Lee. We are always growing, changing, and adapting. We're the result of a millennia of evolution. We're built to adapt. We're built to change. You can change. You can become something different. You can become someone new. Be like water and realize you can adapt and become what you want to be. It might not be easy, but you can if you focus and strive for it. Number 3, realize your self-worth. There is only one of you in this world. There will be people like you, but there is uniquely only one of you. Your past experiences, upbringing, culture, language, interests, hobbies, and much more make you who you are. You have value in this world and you're worth more than you realize. Nobody has walked the path you have walked. Your past alone is in itself valuable, although it might not feel like it. Use it to your advantage. Use it to create something that nobody else will. Number 4, write down and describe what kind of person you want to be. Rather than looking at everybody else and what they're achieving and where they're going and what they're doing, I want you to describe what an ideal version of yourself looks like. Don't think about how realistic or achievable it might be, but don't be silly like becoming a Super Saiyan or something. I mean, we've all been there, but I digress. And really be honest with what kind of person you want to be. The entrepreneurial image is one people often flock to, but to be honest, it isn't for everybody. If it was, everybody would be one. Don't get mixed up in what you feel like you want to be, and instead find out what you actually want to be. This is never really a fixed image. This iterates and changes over time, but at least know what you're intrinsically drawn to. If you know what your ideal self looks like, then you should be able to write down things that that persona does and doesn't do. If you find yourself doing things now that you don't see in that visionary sense, then stop doing them. And vice versa, for things that you should be doing, start doing them. But I'd say the biggest changes are in the things that we stop doing. Most people end up doing too many things, spreading themselves too thin. There's no harm in dabbling and trying and testing things and stuff, but when you find something that you really, really want to do, go in for it. Double down and you will see more impact and growth in that area, and you'll push yourself further and further towards that image of what you want to be. Which brings us nicely onto the next step. Number 5, focus on the one thing. With that list of actions you've just written down, highlight the most important thing that that persona does above all else. You'll find that there's lots of things that you could and should be doing on that activity list, but there's one activity that will outweigh the benefits of all the others combined if you focus on that one thing. It's also important to block out all external noise that interrupts this activity. The more time you spend doing that one activity, the more progress you'll make, and the more confidence you'll build within yourself, and you'll start to see the difference. Remove the distractions, and one day you'll find yourself achieving the things that you wanted. And someone else will be looking up at you in your old place. Striving for excellence in one thing will bring you more joy and peace than anything else. There's a good tweet by the Orange Book saying, "It's easy to end up average. You are interested in everything, get distracted by everything, never commit to anything, and years pass. And you do a lot of things but never stick to anything long enough to get rewarded." So to wrap it up, finding fulfillment and satisfaction whilst breaking the feeling of inadequacy. Embracing our emotions is difficult, and changing our mindset takes time. I know, because I still struggle with it from time to time, but I have a much better mindset that helps me tackle it when it does creep in. If you really, really, really struggle to handle it, then remove the external sources that raise up these feelings. Unfollow that one person who makes you feel small. Delete Twitter, X, Instagram, and YouTube if it's getting you down. But really, if you follow the steps I outlined, you should be inspired by those around you. Going back to the start with the SpaceX tweet and witnessing one of the most amazing feats of engineering ever seen. Be inspired. Use it as fuel to power yourself towards who you want to be, not wishing that you were in somebody else's shoes. If you like this video and don't want to slip back into a negative mindset, then check out this next video where I share the one daily habit that can make all the difference. See you there.